Hello, and welcome back to my breakdown and review of Black Clover, chapter 360. This chapter gives us some really juicy and important information for the narrative moving forward, and this is an amazing chapter. So, we open this chapter continuing Noel versus Acier. Noel unleashes Sea Dragon's roar, and Acier just carves through this thing with ease. Now, outside of one more panel later on, we're actually cutting away from this fight entirely to focus on a different one for this chapter. We're going back to Yuno versus Lucius. The last time we saw them and focused on this fight was in chapter 357 when Lucius caught the sword of Zephyr, which honestly feels like quite a while ago, and I'm really glad that we're coming back to this. Lucius punches Yuno, who blocks the attack with his sword but is still sent flying backwards. Yuno and Lucius are flying around buildings as Lucius thinks to himself that with wind and star magic, Yuno is able to keep up with him. Yuno appears behind Lucius, slashing at him, but Lucius grabs Yuno's sword mid-swing and throws him into a building. Even though Yuno could match Lucius, Lucius intends to end it right here with an attack that will take control of Yuno's soul. However, before he can touch him, Yuno showcases a new ability. This ability is Wind Spirit Creation Magic, Spirit of Notice, or Notice. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. Now, this ability, as Yuno explains it, is a shield made of gale, or in more basic terms, tremendously powerful winds. This shield has the ability to repel incoming attacks. Now, it's hard to tell in this next scene, either Lucius is jumping backwards or he's forcefully being repelled backwards. In my opinion, it seems like he's willingly putting some distance between himself and Yuno. Now, Lucius has a lot of inner monologue throughout the rest of the battle, so I'm going to just explain the actual combat first, then go over what Yuno and Lucius are thinking about themselves. Yuno lunges forward and actually lands a hit on Lucius, slashing Lucius's shoulder. Lucius heals this wound instantly, however, he looks visibly surprised. Yuno slashes towards Lucius again, blowing away the tops of buildings but not actually hitting Lucius. Yuno lunges at him again, and Lucius swings at Yuno, but Yuno blocks the punch with his shield. Now, after Yuno manifests the Spirit of Notice, Lucius questions what that magic is. After this, he thinks to himself that Yuno is even faster than before. Yuno, on the other hand, is fully aware that he will not last much longer, and he intends to end this fight right now. Lucius's next thoughts are very interesting. He starts talking about how this Yuno grew up in the Clover Kingdom, worked very hard, but how could he be so strong? Then we learn that Lucius's foresight allows him to view a pseudo-alternate universe, where Yuno stayed in the Spade Kingdom and the rebellion never occurred. This Yuno should have been the strongest Yuno ever was. And it took that Yuno years to have mastery over his star magic. However, the Yuno we know in just a year grew even stronger than the best that he ever should have been. This extends to everyone else in the battle. There doesn't exist a future in which Noel is this powerful. Mario Leona should have died to Maurice by now. Fuego Leon should have died seemingly a long time ago. Along with the other Magic Knights, they should all be dead. He's unsure of what's different, questioning what it is that his foresight can't see. Now, we get more of Yuno's thoughts here. He thinks about himself and how, in the end, it's always Asta delivering the final blow. And we get flashback panels to the Mars fight, the Zagreus fight, and the Lucifero battle. It frustrates him. So that is why he will keep overcoming those he previously couldn't fight. Lucius realizes what the problem is. This Yuno and this world, he cannot see the future of a world that is influenced by Asta. So this is absolutely massive. Yuno yells out, "I will beat you no matter who you are," and slashes Lucius across the torso. Now, we don't see any blood, or we don't know if this attack actually lands, but Lucius is visibly shook. That's end of chapter, and we're on break next week. So, quite a few things to talk about. I really like the way the new Sea Dragon spell looks, and I certainly think that this will be Noelle's hardest fight yet, and probably the hardest fight she's going to have in the series. Yuno versus Lucius is such an engaging and a really great fight to read, especially getting things like the panel of Yuno in the Spade Kingdom attire or Yuno's inner thoughts about Asta. I do, however, wish we had a better explanation of Lucius's foresight and its limitations. Now, I'm unsure if Lucius can actually see into alternate dimensions, or if he saw Yuno's future, give or take 18 years ago, but that future was changed due to the Dark Triad. I'm not really sure. That is just something that I think needs to be delved into further and explained better. Furthermore, I'm unsure of how to digest the Asta revelation. I don't want Asta to become some legendary chosen one, as I think that would partially discredit his hard work. Now, I know that is not what is being said in this chapter. I just feel like this could be the breadcrumbs to something along those lines. And I would just prefer it if Lucius couldn't see the world with Asta's influence, as Asta doesn't have magic, and individuals like Yuno and Noelle growing and pushing past their limits as a result of Asta's influence on their lives. I just think that would be better, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm exactly explaining that in a way that it makes sense. I don't mind Asta being a foil to Lucius's abilities. I just don't want to end up with a Naruto situation where Asta's hard work, pain, and his journey as a character is sort of devalued. Now, while I overall am really loving the final arc, I am a bit worried. There is a chance this battle is the equivalent of the first invasion from Bleach, and we'll get much more content after this fight, which, in my opinion, that is what I would prefer. I'm always up for more Black Clover. But the other option or chance, and the one that I think is more likely, is that this is actually the final battle of Black Clover. And if that is the case, I don't want to walk away dissatisfied. While we have had some great things like the introduction with Lucius and Asta, the entirety of the Land of the Sun arc, Noelle versus Acier, Yuno versus Lucius, and we're also pretty much guaranteed to get things like Yami versus Morgan, and the Black Bull is getting a spectacular entrance. There are issues I would have if this is like the end. Where is Leo? Where is the Earth Spirit, the fourth one we haven't even seen yet? Is the Diamond Kingdom going to show up and be relevant to the story again? More importantly, is Mars going to show up? Nozel didn't do anything. Jack's death was somewhat anticlimactic. Will Fuegoleon display Saint Stage? Will the elves show up? These are all a lot of things that are very up in the air, and things that I wish are addressed, answered, or play out in this battle or in this final arc. While I do really like the final arc, it's not flawless, and I do hope that it delivers in a very satisfying way. Still, nonetheless, this was another great chapter of Black Clover. That's going to be all from me today. Bye, guys.